Hey y'all, today I am so excited to share with you my recipe for gluten-free brioche buns. I've had this recipe actually on the site for quite a while, but it's been in the form of a loaf of bread and not buns. And I'm just showing you today how you can make this same exact recipe into buns of any size or shape you want. You can make hamburger buns, you can make hot dog buns that pull apart like this. I mean, these are so soft and squishy, you will think you're eating a gluten-filled roll. And look at this. They are just incredible. So let's get into it and I'll show you how to make them. I'm going to start by putting in my wet ingredients first, and this is 240 grams of whole milk. You may be able to substitute with the dairy-free milk, but I have not tried it. And I'm adding to that 100 grams of granulated sugar, 12 grams of instant yeast, and 5 grams of whole psyllium husks. You can substitute that with 3 grams of psyllium husk powder if you'd prefer. And now I'm adding to this 85 grams of very soft butter. And I forgot to mention that the whole milk was at room temperature. And then this is 1 large egg plus 6 large egg yolks, all at room temperature as well. And of course, this is my flour blend, 245 grams of Kim's gluten-free bread flour blend. And then I'm adding finally 5 grams of baking powder and 3 grams of kosher salt. And I'm just going to get this on the mixer as I do for nearly all the rest of my bread recipes. And I'll just get this going on a kind of low to medium until it combines, and I see it's not combining all the way, so I'm going to stop it and scrape down the sides. I found that when I got this new dough hook, it doesn't seem to reach all the way to the bottom as much and pull the dough together, so sometimes I have to scrape the sides. Okay, I'll get it back on the mixer on medium-high this time and let it go until it forms a really loose dough, just like this. It is a very loose and sticky dough. But don't be alarmed, this is how it should look. And I'm just going to scrape it into the center of the bowl. I'm going to put a cover on it, and this is going straight into the fridge for at least 6 hours. You can do it overnight, but if you are quick in the morning to put this together, you can make your rolls by the end of the day. So I've taken this out of the fridge now. It's nice and chilled. Make sure that it's nice and chilled, because you will have a sticky mess on your hands if it's not. This is a notoriously sticky dough, so even with the refrigeration, there is going to be some stickiness to it. So I'm putting it on a good dose of extra flour, bench flour, and then I'm just going to knead it until it's nice and smooth, trying to get all those air bubbles out of it. This is like in lieu of punching down dough. It's like the same concept, getting all those air bubbles out, but we can't really punch it down because it's just going to stick to our hands and it will be a sticky mess. So this is what I do for my bread doughs in lieu of that punching down method. Now it's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little more kneading until it's nice and smooth. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to break out my scale. You don't have to use a scale. You can just portion these into whatever size or shape you want. Just eyeball it. I like to use my scale just for efficiency and uniformity. So I'm looking at about 2 to 3 ounce rolls, so maybe 2.5 ounce rolls. That seems to work best for me. I feel like if they're too much larger, they'll just be huge when they're done baking after all the proofing and everything. So I'll just go through and portion these. Make sure you have plenty of flour on your work surface. And I'm going to take extra flour to shape these originally. So this is what I do for all of my bun or roll recipes. I kind of take the corners, fold it into the center, and then pinch, and then I'll flip that over, and on an unfloured surface, it's very important that it be unfloured so it will actually stick, and you can see it sticking there. That's kind of what you want. You want that friction so it'll give a nice taut round ball. And I'm taking a small baking sheet for this. This is a like quarter sheet pan, and it's been lined with parchment, and I'm just putting these rolls on this one. So I'll do 5 rolls of like buns for hamburger buns, just round rolls. And I want to show you this again because I actually have too much flour on this one. And because of that, it's not wanting to catch, in other words, and stick to the surface. So I'm having a hard time shaping it into a proper ball. So I'm trying to get some of that off, and there we go. It finally took because there was too much flour on it, and I had to get some of that flour off. So I'm just going to go through and shape the rest of these quickly. And now for the hot dog buns, this is a little different. So I've got that. I'm going to put that aside, and I'll grab another sheet tray for my hot dog buns, and I'm actually going to put them horizontally. I'll show you that in just a minute. But we start out the same way as the other ones. And these, because they don't need to catch so much, you do need a little bit of flour so they won't stick so much on the surface. And just like kind of roll it into a long rope shape. And I'm going to put them pretty close together so they will touch once they proof and then bake. I'm only doing 4 here, which is half the sheet tray. You can fill up this whole thing if you'd rather. So now that they're shaped, we'll go ahead and cover them and let them proof. And this actually only took about 30 to 45 minutes. At this time of year, it's May, so it's a lot warmer. And I even left them on my cold marble top, and they still proofed in about 40 minutes, I think. So I've got the oven preheated for 350 degrees, and these are risen. They're not doubled in size, but they're definitely risen, as you can see. So I've got an egg wash here. This is just 1 egg mixed with about a tablespoon of water and a pinch of salt. The pinch of salt really helps to like denature those egg white proteins so they're not all gloppy. It's something I learned from Gazina Prado in one of the many classes I took from her. So we'll get these all egg washed, and if you want at this point you can add seeds, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, onion flakes if you dare want to do that. You know I hate onion, so I would never put those on anything of mine. We're going to bake these at 350 Fahrenheit for 16 to like 18 minutes or so until they're golden brown, gorgeous, and they spring back when you touch them. And they're as light as can be, light as air. If you pick one up, it's still very hot, but they are light as air. And now the final step that I like to do is brushing them with just a little bit, not drenching in melted butter, but just a little bit to give that nice shine to them. These rolls will last on the counter in a sealed container for like 4 to 5 days. And you don't have to toast them. Like, they are that soft for 4 to 5 days. After that, you can still toast them, but because there are no preservatives, you can't keep them for much longer or they will start to mold, unlike that store-bought bread that lasts like centuries. You know what I missed so much about gluten-free bread is it not being able to squish like regular bread did. And this squishes down to where it doesn't pop and like spring back up like no bread should ever do. It's really great, you guys. Enjoy.